All right, Brandon, UFC 283. I haven't kept too much track. What do we got going on? What are the fights this week? We need to know.
Sorry. UFC 283 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. First time in Brazil in a couple of years. It's been a while since they've gone back. The headliner, the main event is Glover Teixeira taking on Jamal Hill for the vacant UFC light heavyweight championship. Uh, it's vacant. It's vacated because the former champ Yuri Prochazka injured his shoulder really bad. He had to vacate the title, and then the title fight, uh, Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev in December, ended in a split draw. Dana was pissed off at the press after the fight in the press conference and basically booked Teixeira versus Hill the night of that last fight. So that's headlining Brazil's card. The co-main event, we're doing a quadrilogy here. This is fight number 4 between Davison Figueiredo, the UFC flyweight champion, versus Brandon Moreno, the interim UFC flyweight champion. It's the 4th time they're doing it. First fight was the best men's flyweight fight in UFC history. It ended in a draw. Second fight, Brandon Moreno absolutely dominated Figueiredo and won the title. won the title. Their third fight, Figueiredo won a very close fight. I thought Moreno personally won, but they gave the edge to Figgy. He won the championship. Then Moreno, Figgy didn't want to fight him for a little bit. Politics got involved. Moreno had to fight Kai Kara France for the interim title. Now he's the interim champ, and they're about to unify the titles. And we're about to find out who breaks that 1-1-1 record. Then we got Gilbert Burns, high-ranking welterweight, taking on Neil Magny. Lauren Murphy, high-ranking flyweight, taking on Jessica Andrade, who's a little pit bull. Paul Craig taking on Johnny Walker is going to be a fun, wild fight. We got the last fight in the great career of Shogun Hua, former champion. He had a great career. And and one other guy I want to highlight is my boy Terrence McKinney. He's got a great story. If you guys want to look him up and learn about his story, it's a great one. And he's incredible. He's a must watch fighter. The fight's gonna end at any point in time. So if I were betting here, if I were placing a bet, which I'm going to, I'm going Teixeira over Hill. I'm going Moreno over Figgy, Burns over Magny, Andrade over Murphy, and then I'll throw Terrence McKinney in there too. So it should be a fun night. It's not the best card, not the most stacked card, but it should be a fun night in Brazil. The crowd should be electric and wild. First time they're back in Brazil in a long time. Those fans, they love their MMA, so it's gonna be a great night of fights.
Man, 3 fights in 13 months by Figueiredo and Moreno is insane, dude.
3 fights in 13 months. Is it 13 months?
Well, this would be the 4th fight, but I'm just looking at it now. This would
Oh,
be.
oh yes, just the previous. Yes, you're correct. Yes, you're correct.
How often do we see that?
Between the same person, same people, or
Yeah,
just in
almost
general?
a year of time.
No, you don't see that like ever. Uh, Between like a fighter can fight one time and 3 times in 13 months. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. But two fighters facing each other, the same people, 3 times in that span of time, no, that doesn't happen. Does not happen. But it's because the flyweight division lacks a lot of talent at the highest end. And when you have guys like Figueiredo and Moreno who are putting on the performances that they do, you just line them back up and people are going to want to watch. And that's why the 4th fight is happening, because these guys have just been the elite of the elite in that division. And they're the most exciting fight to put on. Plus, they're 1-1-1, which is just, you don't see that very often.
Hmm. And this is the first time the UFC's come back to Brazil since March 14th, 2020.
There you
A
go.
lot has happened in the time since then, man.
A lot.
Ooh.
This thing called the pandemic happened. Yep. A lot of time. That was actually, thank you for bringing that up. That was literally the last fight card before the pandemic or as the pandemic happened. It was I believe if I'm correct, it was Charles Oliveira versus Kevin Lee that headlined that fight. Oliveira won in the 4th round by triangle submission. The crowd was basically shut. They were going into the pandemic. They had to basically vacate the arena. No fans were in the arena. It was pitch black, and they just went there and they fought. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was them in Brazil.
It was. We also
Yeah.
had Mai against Burns, Moicano against Hadzovic. I apologize, I'm butchering half these names. There's the tougher pronunciation that
It's
comes
all
with
right.
them.
Yeah, Damian Maya versus Gilbert
Mai.
Burns, was it? He fight
Yeah.
Gilbert Burns. Okay, so Gilbert's fighting on this card too. Yep.
Okay, that's fascinating, man.
And they fought.
What is the biggest upset alert for this week for you?
Let me pull up the odds real quick to give you a. So, well, surprising to me, Glover Teixeira is the underdog. I would not have, because Glover is I mean, he's got the experience. I think he's 42 years old right now, and his grappling is leaps and bounds ahead of Jamal Hill. Moreno's the favorite, so he's probably not. Gilbert Burns the -500 favorite. He's not live underdog. Andrade, no. So I guess, yeah, for me, it would have to be Glover Teixeira at +115 is the live on. I mean, I'm surprised he is the underdog. If I'm going to be honest, I think Glover is going to get it done. I think he's got to worry about the first round and the second round. Watch out for that power, because that's what Jamal Hill is known for.
Mm.
But if he's able to take him down, it's going to be a tough night. It might not be a long night because Glover's got excellent grappling and jiu-jitsu, and he might be able to wrap up a submission here, but it can be a rough night if Jamal Hill ends up on his back.